Hey you! What do you want?
I'm Captain Bernard's envoy. I'm here to parley.
Why should I trust you?
I'm unarmed. What harm can I do?
That's true. You are wearing Sir Bernard's colours. I suppose I should take you to Sir Wolflin. But if you try any tricks, you'll regret it. Understood?
You have my word.
Who do we have here? What's your name, boy?
Henry. I'm a messenger from...
I know. From my beloved cousin, Sir Bernard of Aleshna. So, what exactly is your message?
Why do you want to hurt the Lords of Aleshna?
That bastard Malotta stole villages that belonged to my father. I was in Poland when my father died, and Malotta convinced everyone I was dead too.
But you came back though, didn't you?
I came back. But Malotta bribed the priest to testify that my father made him a deathbed confession. That bastard swore my father told him he was possessed, and so was his son, me. So they think I rose from the dead and I'm a warlock. They won't hear my claim.
I'm so tired.
That's unfortunate. But surely the courts of the king wouldn't believe a story like that.
Maybe not. But the king's in captivity, and none of the nobles have time for courts. No one will hear my case, and by the time this turmoil is over, everyone will have forgotten about me.
Can't drink no more today.
We offer you safe conduct out of this domain if you leave everything you stole from Zahanish's subjects.
That's a very generous offer. But tell me, why should I accept?
Filth and stink everywhere.
Don't you know what's been going on
Should've
around
stayed
here
home.
recently?
Should I?
Bandits have been on the rampage all over the county. Cutthroats raided a nearby stud farm, and the locals have had enough of it.
No doubt, but I've nothing to do with that.
Try telling them that. On the way here, the captain recruited men from half the county. He intends to make an example of you.
Why me? No doubt you've plenty to choose from.
Because you're the first one who's had the gall not to run. So you'll be the first one they catch, and I'm sure you can imagine what will happen then.
And why warn me? Why parley at all, if there are so many of you?
So Hannes wants to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. He'd be happier if you just moved on somewhere else, so he sent me to bargain with you.
You're saying it wasn't Bernard's idea?
If the captain knew I came here in his colours, he'd flay me alive.
The devil take it. There's nothing here worth pillaging anyway. All right. I accept your offer.
I want to rob here.
Tell your captain we'll move on.
And you'll leave the loot here?
Fucking
We'll leave what's left.
Fucking
The
cunt.
food's already eaten.
Fucking cow.
Better run along
Bloody
before
enough of
Bernard
this
loses
shit.
patience.
So hungry I could eat my boots.
I've just come back from Wolflin, Captain.
And in one piece, I see. That's something at least, but I doubt you achieved anything.
I talked them into moving out. They even left the loot they plundered.
I don't know about letting them go like that. They'll be hungry. All you've truly done is send them on to rob our neighbors.
We can't be blamed for that. They're the ones robbing and killing.
That's true. Anyway, I'll warn the neighboring lords that those bandits are on the loose. Ride to Ratai and report to Sir Hanush.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
I went to parley with Wolflin.
So how did that go?
I convinced him to take his gang and leave.
Really? I knew you were no fool, but that's something else. You're a born diplomat, Henry.
I don't know about that.
Don't be so modest. We have to drink to this. Goodbye.
God bless you. What troubles you?
I have news from the camp, Sir Hanush.
Speak.
I persuaded Captain Bernard to let me parley with Wolflin.
Bernard agreed. I'm surprised.
So was I. I promised Wolflin safe conduct out of your territory on condition he leave all the loot behind.
Well, at least we cut our losses. Although Bernard will have a thing or two to say about how I lost face for a few groschen.
Well, at least you lost no men, sir, and that's worth something.
True enough, lad. No doubt Wolflin will come to a bad end anyway. I must say, Henry, after all that's happened recently, I'm glad something finally turned out well.
So am I, sir.
And I think you deserve to be rewarded for your efforts.
Thank you, sir.
May the Lord watch over you.
There. Satisfied?
My respects to you.
Are you Carl by any chance?
I am. Why do you ask?
I've heard that you're bound for the monastery.
Yes, it's true. But I've convinced my faithful guardian, Manfred, to give me a few more days of freedom. Mind you, he won't let me visit the brothel, so instead I'm devoting those days to the demon drink. With whom do I have the honor of speaking?
My name is Henry.
Pleased to meet you, Henry.
Could we speak in private? I have some,
Coming.
issues with the monastery.
Really? Well, I'd love to talk about it, but we won't have privacy as long as Manfred here has his head permanently stuck up my arse. Get rid of him for me, please. God be with you.
Good health to you.
You're Manfred, the young lord's guardian?
Indeed I am. Why?
You must have a mighty thirst. Waiting here with him for days, just watching him get drunk, and not having a sip yourself.
There's no doubt I'd enjoy a drink. Heaven knows I deserve it. But if I dull my senses in the slightest, that rogue will surely get up to mischief.
So let's drink together. And if you start to feel unwell, I'll keep an eye on him. Like you said, you deserve some fun.
I can see you're a reliable lad. So what shall we have to drink? And while we're at it, why not have a little game? May the Lord watch over you. So, bring it on. That's all. This'll be the one. We'll see. Now I'm for the chop.
How much longer must I wait?
Over here, a beer.
Got it for you right here.
That's it.
There. Satisfied? Coming right up. Coming.
Oh no!
Certainly.
Bottoms
I'll
up.
get it right away. Coming.
Damn!
I'll have a beer.
Had enough.
And you said you wouldn't drink today.
Silence! I'm going to sleep. Here's a few coins. Have fun. Tomorrow, we're going to the monastery. Is that clear?
Couldn't you give me more? This isn't even enough for a toothless whore.
It's enough for beer. Good night.
My pleasure.
Manfred's taken care of, just as you wanted.
Thank God. He won't let me out of his sight for a second, and he's itching to get me in the monastery so he can head back home.
Why are you being sent to the monastery?
Like every lusty young lad, I'm fond of fair maidens, but I got too fond of one, and let's just say she was, indisposed for 9 months.
But they don't send you to the monastery for that.
They do, when it's the daughter of the Lord of your fief.
Shit.
Shit is putting it mildly. The Lord of Bukovo was less than pleased. He knows he'll never marry off his daughter now, so he gave father a choice. Either pay him 1,000 groschen in compensation, along with my balls on a silver platter, or pay 1,000 groschen and put me away somewhere no one will ever see me again.
Why does your guardian never leave your side?
So I don't run away. Of course, I'm free to walk around, but he watches every step I take and won't stop until I'm behind the monastery walls.
Well, he's not watching you now.
What good is that to me when he has all the money, and even my saddle and riding cloak under lock and key?
Why don't you just run away?
Bare arsed. What the hell would I do? I don't know how to work, I have no money, and that old bastard's even taken my cloak. He has me in the palm of his hand.
But there are poor people everywhere and they get by somehow.
If I have to choose between hunger and poverty on one hand and the monastic life on the other, I'm afraid the monastery wins. If I could only steal that old man's pouch, I'd be gone faster than lightning and no one would ever see me again.
What if I entered the monastery instead of you?
What? Voluntarily? You don't look like someone who'd want to spend the rest of his days on his knees praying. Well, that's your problem. You could only enter the monastery if you know how to read and write, and if you have a special writ from the abbot. That's a letter confirming they know who you are and that they've accepted you.
So you give me your writ? I'll just tell them I'm you.
Manfred has the writ. You'd have to take it from him, but he only puts it down when he sleeps.
So I'll steal it and then you can disappear.
Disappear? Bare arsed. What the hell would I do? I don't know how to work, I have no money, and that old bastard's even taken my cloak. He has me in the palm of his hand.
But there are poor people everywhere and they get by somehow.
If I have to choose between hunger and poverty on one hand and the monastic life on the other, I'm afraid the monastery wins. If I could only steal that old man's pouch, I'd be gone faster than lightning and no one would ever see me again.
Yeah.
I'm Carl. I'm supposed to enter as a novice.
We expected you sooner. Weren't you supposed to come here with your guardian? It's been so hectic lately, people will keep turning up out of the blue.
He gave me the papers and left me at the gate. You must be used to that, though. I'm not the first novice here, am I?
But that wasn't very considerate of him, was it? It's been so hectic here lately, novices arriving one after the other. The last one didn't even have a letter, and you'd think his backside was on fire, the way he kept looking over his shoulder.
You took him without the letter? You didn't find that suspicious?
My guess is he wanted to hide from someone, but he's a priest and knows how things work in the monastery, so there was nothing to prevent him from being accepted, at least temporarily. You're a different case, though. Are you able to read?
Naturally. I wouldn't be here otherwise.
So then, are you ready to enter the Order of Saint Benedict and renounce forever the temptations of this world?
I am.
Then you must rid yourself of all your worldly possessions. Sell them or give them to the poor and needy or donate them to the monastery. You may not enter this place burdened by worldly goods. Inside the gatehouse is a trunk in which you will find monk's robes. Put away all your possessions and dress yourself in the habit. Then you may rest a while I go and see the prior to arrange matters for your acceptance. Farewell.
You mean the money you lent him last winter? He took his...
Strange feeling being without all of that. I didn't realise how much I'd grown used to it.
Everything's prepared. It's time for you to take your vows.
Do I really have to wear this?
You'd better get used to it. You'll be wearing it for the rest of your life.
Brothers in Christ, we have gathered here today to welcome a new novice into our midst. Dear brother, forget your former life and embrace your new vocation in the community of the monks of St. Benedict. Opus Dei, obedientia, obprobria, the service of God, obedience, and endurance of all discomfort. These are the cornerstones and succor of our order, which on this day shall become your own. Suscipe me, Domine, secundum eloquium tuum, et vivam. Et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Suscipe me, Domine, secundum in loquium tuum vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione me.
Accept your new name, Brother Gregor, and wear it with honor. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother. I am Antonius, a novice like you. I've been instructed to guide you around the monastery and tell you what you can expect and what your duties will be.
Thanks for helping me out during the ceremony. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
You don't know Latin, do you? Don't worry. Work in the scriptorium will teach you fast enough. Why exactly are you here? Was it your choice? Or did someone force you to come?
It was my choice. For a common lad like me, it's the easiest way to get an education and do something worthwhile with my life.
It looks like we're both here for the same reason. I think we'll get along.
Would you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a novice and I'm here because I'd make a poor merchant. I like books and I want an education. Although I must say, so far the monastic life's been quite unexpected.
Let's go then.
Good. But before we do, here's a letter directly from the prior telling you all your regular duties from tomorrow onwards. Make sure to read it this evening, so you know how things work. Right, we can go now. Follow me closely. I'll explain everything as we go. Remember one word: discipline. It's your job to work and pray. You serve the Lord now, not your own bodily needs. This is the way to the dormitory, where we all sleep. You'll find a free bed there, which is now yours. Do you know the first thing the monastery taught me? To appreciate sleep. We rise before dawn every day. Takes a bit of getting used to. This is the garden, a place for silent contemplation and meditation. Centuries ago, this monastery was founded by the most esteemed of brothers, Saint Procopius. His earthly remains can be found in a cave under the monastery, and his spirit wanders the corridors at night, punishing any misbehaving novices. So beware. Come now, I don't want to still be showing you around at midnight. Here are the frattery and scriptorium, together with the library. These are the places where we work. Ora et labora. Pray and work. As a novice, you must always listen to your superior brethren. And above us monks are the prior and the cicatas, who punish every infraction. You'll know them by the canes they carry. Do what they say. Come now, I don't want to still be showing you around at midnight. This is the refectory, where we come together to eat. During meals, you must be silent. Only one brother reads aloud from the Rule of Saint Benedict. The Rule is the only law we recognize, with the exception of those from God himself. If you break any of it... The library, the pride of our monastery. A trove of learning. We don't just read books here, we also copy them. You too will learn how. And that's all. Today you are still free from duty, but tomorrow you begin work like the others. If you need anything, ask any of the brothers. We will be glad to help you. And I recommend you get to know the other novices. You already know me. Then there is Siskin, Yodok, and Lucas.
Thanks for showing me around. There's a lot to learn here.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter. And soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
I see. Are there any rifts between the brothers?
Yes. From the moment talk began about electing a new abbot, it's been like a hornet's nest here. Strange you haven't noticed.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Abbot Peter is old. When he dies, they'll have to select a new abbot from amongst the brethren. The candidates are John and Nevlas. And if you ask me for my opinion, Nevlas is definitely the right man. Unfortunately, no one cares about my opinion because novices get no say.
Tell me something about life here.
Work, prayer, as if you didn't know. We serve God, and that's the central truth of our lives.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Someone takes care of the library, someone else the garden. The abbot supervises everyone, and in his absence, the prior. But it's the circators you should worry about. They're the brothers who'll make sure we observe the rule. They can be quite strict, so if you want to avoid getting punished, always act righteously and do your duties honestly.
I need to make a confession.
I'm no priest, but tell me what you've done. It's probably nothing to worry about.
I'm here in the monastery looking for a thief. He had a hand in burning down the Neuhof stud.
You don't say. And who are you to take such an interest?
That's not important.
Why are you telling me this anyway? What do you want from me?
Perhaps you could help me find him?
The missing thief? If I knew anything, I'd tell you, but I suppose it must be one of the novices. I've only recently heard about the Neuhof incident, nor the other brethren have been here much longer than that.
I know. Aside from me, there are only 4 novices, but still I don't know which one he could be.
3? Please, leave me out of it. And you're right that it could be any one of them. No one knows anything about Lucas. Siskin might be a lot of things, but a monk isn't one of them. And Yodok is a slimy worm. It wouldn't surprise me if he was behind that massacre. Actually, the more I think about it, the less I like that Yodok. He's a treacherous rat who'd do anything to get in someone's good books. The thought of Yodok at Neuhof sends chills up my spine.
Maybe you're right. It's not a pretty thought. Thanks for your help, and please don't say a word to anyone.
Don't fret, my friend. Your secrets are locked inside my lips.
What is it, brother?
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. But I've no time for idle chat. I transcribe books from dawn till dusk. I've been doing it for years, and I'll be doing it till the day I die.
What, you do nothing else?
It is my penance and my blessing. And now, brother, if you don't mind, I'd like to get this page finished. What would you like?
I'd like to ask about something.
Can't you see I'm working? Ask someone else.
The forbidden books must be in that cabinet.
Manuscripts copied by one of the novices. I think I'm going to cry.
It's that touching, is it?
Touching? More like infuriating. A horrible, abominable waste of parchment. Young people have no respect for writing these days.
But they'll learn. We were no different. Talk to me, brother.
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
I'm interested in the other novices. Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. You can rely on him. He won't betray your confidence. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for the other brothers.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
Who would you vote for as the new abbot if you could?
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote, so we shouldn't get mixed up in it.
I'm just interested, that's all.
I like John better. But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonius is mixed up in it. Don't you start too.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
What troubles you?
Listen, there's something I ought to tell you. There's a dangerous criminal hiding in the monastery, and I came here to look for him.
Ha! I knew it! He's a villain. Who are you, though? Oh, it's better not to ask, isn't it? It's always safer not to ask.
Never mind that. Who's a villain?
That's Siskin. I always thought he was an odd one, the way he carries on. But now it makes perfect sense. He's a criminal fleeing justice.
What are you talking about? You clearly know something I don't.
I'm telling you, keep your eye on him. He's no monk. That's what my gut tells me. And my gut's never wrong. What are you going to do to that fellow once you find him?
That's not your concern.
You should talk to the Circators or the Prior about it. Not act on your own.
I'm Gregor, a novice. I saw you at the ceremony.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him. I've never asked about him.
Do you know anything about Yodok?
I don't. He doesn't like me, and he's on very friendly terms with the Circators. That's about it.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
Come on. Is there really nothing at all you can tell me?
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and prayer. not on who I once was. I never will be again. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath. Never forget that.
If you could, who would you vote for to be the abbot?
But I can't vote, so what's the point of worry? Ask Antonius. He often talks about it, and I'm sure he has an opinion.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother. There's something I should tell you. Something secret. I'm looking for someone here in the monastery.
You're looking for someone? But you're a novice, aren't you?
I am a novice. At least until I find the man I'm looking for.
Why would you be looking amongst monks? You know, the laws of man aren't valid here. In the cloister, we're subject to divine law, the law of the church.
I'm looking for a footpad who's hiding out here in the monastery.
Be well.
He had a hand in raising the Neuhoff farm. He's taken many lives.
I heard something about that. But why are you telling me all this?
Because you could help me. It has to be one of the other novices.
That can't be. Have you told the prior? What are you going to do to this man once you find him? Someone really reeked at matters.
Talk to him.
You're right.
Then I'll see. Do you have any idea which of the novices could be the imposter I'm looking for?
It's a mystery. I don't know, and I don't care to know. I wish you'd never told me. Now I won't be able to sleep at night.
Then he'd soon get his man.
I'm Gregor and I'm new here.
I know. I saw you in the church during ceremony. I have the feeling we'll be meeting again soon, and often. You see, I'm the circator.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything's the way it should be.
When it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always traveling, and on top of that, he's old and infirm. Perhaps the good Lord will bless him with many more years of life.
And what happens when the old abbot dies?
Then we elect a new one.
Are there any candidates to be the new abbot?
Yes, there are. Brothers John and Nevlas. Cursed elections. Since the brothers began talking about them, there's only been strife in the monastery. On one side are brothers who'd like to see John as abbot, on the other, those who support Nevlas, and they seem to be capable of fighting about it forever.
My Agnes has been gone now for 4.5 years, and still it seems like only yesterday she went to the good Lord.
Tell me about John.
Aye, you're right there.
John is the circator and the oldest brother here. It would be only natural if he took the crozier from Peter. He has experience, merit, and composure. He'd lead the monastery wisely.
I'd like to know about Nevlas.
Nevlas manages the monastery's property. He doesn't have the most experience, but his drive and heart are pure, his faith firm, and his ideas rational. Although perhaps he's too keen to change our routines here, which many brothers don't like.
Why does it matter so much who wins?
Because the future direction of the monastery hangs in the balance. The younger brothers feel they have to work more than their superior brothers, and that some brothers are more concerned with their own comfort than with worshipping God. The older brothers take a different view. They say the younger monks want privileges they haven't earned, and each side has its own candidate.
I thought politics weren't part of the monastic way of life.
You're right. But we know nothing besides the monastery, and the abbot's decisions can influence our entire life. Some of the brothers take it very personally.
Are there ever any disagreements between the brothers?
Unfortunately, yes. The biggest quarrels right now are about the election of the new abbot. They can already see poor Peter in his grave.
I understand. Tell me something about life here.
Prayer, work, obedience. That just about sums it up.
Can you tell me something about the rule of St. Benedict?
7 centuries ago, Saint Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world beyond the monastery walls is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue and the grass is just as green. Perhaps the rulers change, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged through the ages.
I'm interested in the monastery's history.
It was founded by Saint Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place for some time, but then the order was restored and brothers of the truth faith returned.
Heretics, you say?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals, in a language foreign to God. They were driven away and their books burned.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior and the sub-prior, the librarian, the porter, and many others. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the circators. They're the ones who maintain discipline and punish bad behavior.
What can you tell me about the novices here?
What can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year, you can make your vows and become a fully fledged brother.
I meant something specific about the brothers that are here.
But you know them yourself. Yorick is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager. Perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about who I know nothing.
He was stomping about like a bear. That must have been Brother Cicada. He can't sleep and prays long.
Can you leave the monastery?
Well, where would you go? You have everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight, so no one can get in or out.
Who would you like to be the new abbot?
The old abbot isn't dead yet. It's too early to talk about elections. But if I had to choose between the two who are already putting themselves forward, John would be my choice.
Today's food. What do they do in that kitchen? I'll bet they keep the tastiest morsels for themselves and give us the slop that's left over.
The food's definitely gone downhill. I remember back when we ate like kings.
And the wine! Those were the days.
You'll see. Things will get better with the new abbot.
What is it, brother?
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. What about Yodok?
Be on good terms with him. If you show even the slightest hint you don't like him, he'll make your life hell. He's a slimy little pedant who'll rat you out to the superiors. Once he finishes his novitiate, I imagine he'll want to climb his way up the ladder to at least Sir Cater. He's a man who enjoys ordering others around.
I'm interested in Lucas.
No one knows much about him. He doesn't talk to anyone. He works, eats, sleeps, then does it all again the next day. It's as if he wanted to get it all over with as soon as possible. By it, I mean his entire life.
That's all. Thanks.
Salve Domine.
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although, it's not important. Welcome to Purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me, in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
What's your plan with this treasure?
To get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off somewhere, far, far away from here.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my brothers, my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself. Especially the part about the coin.
I'm still curious about this treasure trove of yours.
It's no big terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services. There's no time otherwise. At other times I don't get to read what I like. And I keep it under the slab so the others don't find it.
I'll leave you be. Don't worry, I won't follow you again.
Thank you. And please, Gregor, don't mention it to anyone.
How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. Tell me about Antonius.
Oh, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with of course the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a calm soul, he's easy to talk to, and you can always rely on him.
I'm interested in Yodok.
What could interest you about him? He's a no-good rat. He'll turn you in for the price of a turnip. I'd bet my life that if he wasn't here, he'd be a cumin scout, bowing and scraping for a few groschen.
That doesn't sound too flattering.
It wasn't meant to. No matter what you do here, watch out for him. He's got his eye on everyone, and he'll rat on you for even the slightest of infractions.
What can you tell me about Lucas?
It's a tricky situation with Lucas. No one really knows anything about him. I've tried so many times to talk to him, but he always backs away like a virgin on a wedding night.
That's all. Thanks. Who would you elect, Abbot, if you could?
Most likely Nevlas. He's a fine fellow and he seems honest. But, truth be told, it doesn't matter much to me. A monastery will still be a monastery, no matter who's in charge. If you really want to talk more about it, ask Antonius. He seems to have taken an interest.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
What troubles you?
I'm interested in the other novices. What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Sounds like you don't have much time for him.
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Believe me, Gregor, he's hiding something from us. In fact, now I come to think of it, I haven't seen him at morning prayers for a while.
I'm interested in Lucas.
Nobody knows much about Lucas. He keeps himself to himself. If you ask me, he's got something to hide. I'd keep well clear of him if I was you.
Do you have any grounds for suspecting him of something?
Quite a lot. And also none at all. The circators who make the rounds despise him, and they'd never punish anyone without cause.
What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, I'm surprised.
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
What can you tell me about Siskin?
Not a lot. I don't know him. Actually, I don't know much about him at all, except that he's not a stickler for rules.
Do you know anything about Yodok?
I don't. He doesn't like me, and he's on very friendly terms with the Circators. That's about it.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him. I've never asked about him.
Are you joking? Don't you know anyone at all here?
Why should I?
I'd have thought you might want to know who you'll be spending the rest of your life with. I definitely do. In fact, I probably already know more about them than you do.
Don't get upset. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. I just haven't felt like getting to know anyone yet.